Hi. Too soon? Okay. My name's Jen Portland. I have a spreadsheet outsourcing business. We're kind of like a mail merge on steroids. And since we're very niche, and new to the DBE program, the best way we've won business in New York City and New York State is by reaching out to people in the agency and showing demos of our work for more small or discretionary purchase orders. And I was wondering if that opportunity was available with New Jersey Transit, and if so, who we should reach out to.
What type of services?
We're Microsoft Excel. We do spreadsheet outsourcing and automation of work that people do all the time.
I'm sorry, was your question answered? No. Okay. Okay. Do you want to?
Yes.
Yes.
See me after. I'll give you my card, and I'll put you in the right contact with people in IT and in office services.
Okay, thank you, Jose.
Good morning. My name is Bill Harris, IE Comfort. We're a HVAC equipment and supplies company. I was wondering, are there goals for energy efficiency or reduction of greenhouse gases with respect to all the terminals and centers throughout the New Jersey Transit?
So we do have an environmental services unit, and they have someone that works with them on initiatives for LEED and for energy conservation. I don't know if we specifically have goals or they don't necessarily make their way into projects, but there certainly are initiatives that they undertake and that they're interested in doing so and that they're working on separately. So if that's something you're interested in, I could put you in contact with that department.
Yes, we have a question here.
Thank you. Good morning. Bob Sobel from Brinkerhoff Environmental Services. We're a woman-owned DBE. Two quick questions, though, if you don't mind. Will the attendee list for today's event be made available?
Yes.
Okay, great. And on the website, or will it be emailed to us?
It will be available. No, it won't be emailed. It'll be available. We're going to send out a link, right, Leo?
Well, I think, yeah, so what we decided was we know we didn't tell everyone that we were going to make everyone's email lists available. So what we want to do is just give anyone the opportunity who doesn't want to disclose their information on the profile and send that out to everyone to do that. So people feel like they're going to get spammed. If they give us their email address, they might not give it to us in the future. So we do want to give everyone the opportunity to say, I don't want my information displayed, but we will encourage everyone to make their information available. And once we get that list, we will then push that out to everyone.
Thank you. But my real question is, may we have the name of contact information for the person who would work with companies like ours, specific, like environmental engineering and consulting firms?
I'm sorry.
That would be John Geithner. John Geithner is the head of NJ Transit's Environmental Services Unit. We can get you more of his contact information after this presentation.
Thank you. Okay, we have one here, and then you're next. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, New Jersey Transit, congratulations on your robust, presentation of capital plan. Dale Erico, Railroad Construction, RCC Building and Development, Beach Electric, RCC Fabricators, and PDI. My question to the panel is obviously a robust program. The minority participation, is that going to be a percentage per individual plan? Is that going to vary? One. Secondly, the Raritan River Bridge project, you broke it into 3 portions. Do you have a proximity on each portion? Those are my 2 questions.
Well, I'll answer the first one regarding the goals. These are federal contracts that were presented to you today, so they will have DBE goals. And as the projects come up toward the time for them to be advertised, we'll review, as Melissa said in her presentation, everything that goes into it. We'll partner with our business partners, project management, and then we'll establish goals at that time. Okay? But they will be advertised, and you will know what the goal is when they're advertised.
And then you had a question specifically on Raritan. So just something that I actually forgot to mention, there is a special pre-qualification that's going to go out for that. And so you'll have more information at that point on the project and on the assigned goal. And yes, there will be goals assigned to each of the contracts. We work with OBD in getting those goals assigned. Did you have a dollar value for the not to be shared. We don't want to give out any information.
Yeah, I don't think the ICE is prepared for the other two. And just to be clear, I think the question was, you were talking about DBE goals for all three parts, all right? But
Even the contract values.
oh, strictly values. Okay, I wanted to make sure it got answered. Yeah, not there yet. Not there yet, unfortunately.
I have one here. And DBEs, you wanted to know who a prime contractor was? That was one. Sorry, Dale.
Thought bubble right there. Hi, my name's Shanna Scott, and I'm with Modat Video
I'm sorry,
Productions.
Lenore, I'm sorry.
It was just one final follow-up. You will get some information, at least on the range, when you get the first, the pre-qualification information on the first contract.
Hi, again, my name is Shanna Scott with Modat Video Productions. We do proof of concepts, we do case studies, things like that, and I haven't been able to find advertising, marketing, things like that. Where do we go for these kinds of, services? Because it seems like it's always, engineering and that kind of stuff. Advertising, marketing, I know you guys use it. Most people do. Videos.
We do, fairly niche.
I hear videos are, they're pretty hot right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would classify that as fairly niche for this operation, right? I mean, the best I could tell you is that you'd have to kind of keep your eye on the website for work that's in your wheelhouse. I mean, I think we do use those services, but not nearly to the extent, where it's architecture and engineering and construction services and commodities and stuff like that.
Right.
So the website is the answer. It's just a matter of when something comes down the pipe. But that's something we can talk about if you want to see me afterwards.
Right.
Maybe we could talk about, if we foresee those services needed in the near term.
All right, thank you.
Great.
My name is John Sanchez. I'm the president of the Essex County Latino American Chamber of Commerce. And one of our concerns I could see is already being addressed. Again, I believe in goals. Our chamber believes in goals. If we don't have goals with many of these corporations, they're going to simply ignore us. Because I have been in this route before when I go to many of these corporations, and the first thing they tell me, well, we don't have to meet no goals. So if we don't have no goals, we're not going to have the Latino businesses specifically that I represent, and minority business are not going to have any opportunity. So we want to see these goals, please. Otherwise, we will not have any opportunities. Thank you.
Well, luckily, we have those goals. Right, for every project, to the extent that a goal is in play, then they are advertised in that way, right? Mm-hmm. So I think we agree with you.
But I just want to add to that we are interested in getting the feedback from folks who have had challenges and have had success when it comes to contracting with us, because we use all that as part of what we want to do for creation of our agency goal. So all of that feedback is very important. It is the intention of the DBE program, remember, to disappear, right? Like our goal is to make the goals not necessary. So we want to know everything that we can do to encourage that. And we, of course, recognize that we're not there yet. So we will continue to employ goals to the extent necessary to ensure that we protect opportunities for DBEs.
Yeah, my name is Rashid Siddiqui. Company name is Siddiqui Engineering, PC. We are DBE. We have worked as a prime and subs in New York State. My question is, for New Jersey Transit, can we get a list of major primes who work with New Jersey Transit and their contact names and numbers so we can reach out to them?
Well, that information, actually on New Jersey Transit's website is at njtransit.com. Under doing business with, there is a link, I believe it sits under procurement, that is notice of awards. And for every single contract that New Jersey Transit has awarded, it has the name of the firm that won and the dollar amount of that contract. And I believe some contact information. So that's one location. Okay, you're welcome.
Good morning. My name is Brian Ansari of Brian Ansari and Associates. We are a management consulting firm. First question is, do you have a discretionary purchase tool that you use to be able to facilitate smaller purchases for firms that kind of come in as gateway opportunities? And the second is for the Superstorm Sandy funds. Are you using Section 3 requirements on that? And moreover, are there other considerations beyond DBE on those dollars relative to the goals using minority, women, disadvantaged, or small business enterprises?
I'll handle the first one. Currently, we don't, small dollar, under 40,000. It's mostly purchase of spare parts, services. So there is no electronic mechanism currently like Bid Express. So basically we have the vendors that we go to purchase the OEMs or for spare parts, and then we go to the vendors that we know can provide the services for either small construction, HVAC, or cleaning services. So right now we do not have a electronic format for that.
Just a quick follow-up to that. Is there statutory authority for discretionary purchasing, or is it just limited to just what you do as far as what you just mentioned?
For you.
No go.
So just a follow-up question. Jose, how would firms get on that list to be able to be called?
We are currently updating the website to be able to put, what buyers purchase what commodities. We had it a while back ago. We lost staff. Once we add in staff, you'll be able to go onto the doing business site, and you'll be able to link on, buyer A might purchase small construction or HVAC service or cleaning services, and you'll be able to link, send them an email, and get yourself, familiarized until we get some type of electronic process.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Johnson Cope with Johnson Security Bureau. We provide security guards and armored car services. What are some of the areas where you have a hard time meeting the goals that the people who have registered for today's event might be able to help you either in working together to meet or to come up with some innovative solutions to help you meet those goals?
So I think what I'm going to do is pass that question to our capital projects individuals, because they're the ones who know what's difficult to find in certain areas in terms of scopes of works for DBEs and SBE firms. So I think I'm going to pass it to them to say speak to what their experience has been in the challenges.
Well, generally on past projects that I've worked on, when it comes to project site security, and I think that was the gist of your question. Sorry, was it?
Actually, my question was more in general, because we've had opportunities where we've been able to be a security DBE, but for the benefit of everybody in the room, what are some of the low-hanging opportunities where you may miss the goals, but we may be able to work together to help you meet those goals?
Yeah, as my colleague said, that was a very interesting question. But on past projects that I've worked on, we've always left the site security to the contractors that are working on the various projects. Obviously, if we project management, if we see that the contractor is not meeting his or her goal, then we will encourage them to look in your direction to help them meet their stated goal. I don't know if, Lenore, if you have anything to add.
I'm not sure if there's any particular area that that I could shed light on for it. Honestly, is kind of project specific. I mean, there are certain kind of go-to services that some of the prime contractors might look to DB firms for, whether it's hauling deliveries, cleaning, the challenge is that they have to look at work, and Lisa Marie Leotis, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they have to look at work that they can give you the totality of. I don't think you can divide up a task and say, okay, we're going to do this portion of the electrical and the DBE is going to do this, unless it's a specific breakout. But there might be, say, in the overall of all the different types of electrical services, if there's some specialty electrical work and maybe the electrical sub can run the conduit. There's some times where certain work can be broken out, as long as it can be broken out into a discrete piece of work. But yeah, it really varies depending on the project.
Yeah, and I think I can, some of the things as come to the top of mind is roofing. New Jersey Transit has some of our contracts are historical properties, and so there's some very specific type roofing. So we may have a directory full of roofing firms, but are you a roofing contractor who can really perform the types of roofing that New Jersey Transit needs? Another would be electrical. New Jersey Transit is not a union shop. However, many of the contractors who bidding on contracts are, and so that's another element that is out there where it could be a struggle. HVAC could be another, whereby on transit contracts you really need to be an electrical engineer. And what we're finding is that we may not necessarily have that particular element for our HVAC DBE firms. So those are just the few things that come to mind right at this moment. But I could probably think of others later.
Well, I just want to chime in, just 2 points to think about for that. For one, generally when we set goals, because of how Melissa Camposano talked about, we set goals, we generally meet them, right? Because we've done the research to see if we have the DBEs and if they have the capacity. So we generally don't have challenges with our prime contractors being able to meet our goals. But, where you might want to look is some of the areas where you don't see very large goals, right? So as a preview, I will tell you that for the 2 bridge contracts that were coming up, we would like to set higher goals than we are able to based on a number of DBEs that can do that work. So if you are listening to this presentation later and you want to go back to when Lenore was talking about bridges, know that there's a lot more work there for DBEs than we have DBEs to do that work. And when that happens, that suppresses the amount of goal we're able to set, right? So when you see lower goals, that's an area where if you're a DBE, you want to look for opportunity to say, well, hey, I could get into that industry. It looks like there's probably a lot of work there for me. But also I want to say that what we do hear from primes is that they have trouble finding the DBEs. And so as Melissa was talking about earlier, we'll set goals based on who we know is in the database, but their ability to find DBEs in the database is based on how they've represented themselves, their business description, and their NAICS codes. That's why that information was so important, because you could see how a mismatch in a business description can make it very hard to find you. And then primes will come to us in good faith saying, I don't see them, and we'll speak to them in good faith saying, they're in there, and the mismatches in the details of the information. So I would say those 2 areas probably affect what we're able to do as an agency more perhaps than a sort of dearth of DBEs in any particular industry that we're.
And certainly take advantage of opportunities like today. Part of the program has a component of networking. The reason why we do that is to make sure that you're all in the same room. It's a great opportunity for you to go ahead and meet those prime contractors, pass around the card, and get the face-to-face that you might not otherwise do. It's the fastest way to connect with someone. So, and there are also some dates in the future that are going to be posted for additional events such as this and on the state level. Take advantage of that. Come out, do some of the footwork, and you will find the connections and get the opportunity.
And I just want to add something to that, Anthony. It's not just about networking with the prime bidders. I mean, we know that's what you want to do. But for example, this morning there were 2 firms sitting right next to each other who perform lab testing. And he says to me, one of them said to me, I'm trying to get him to stop, and I said, don't look at each other as competition. Look at each other as potential business partners, because one of you might get called, and through that call, he could then in turn call call the other firm to help them, do a larger dollar value of the work. So also network with each other, okay? Because I think there are a lot of missed opportunities. And one thing that I always like to say is, yes, we do want the bidders, the prime contracting community to, step up to the plate when it comes to these programs and utilize DBEs and SMWBEs. But at the end of the day, if you're not willing to use yourselves, right, it's your program. So if you're not willing to reach back and partner with other SMWBEs, what does that say about the program? When you need help, you're reaching to a non to help you do your work. So that's just something to take into consideration. Sometimes we have to walk our talk.
My name is Ram Tirumala. I'm with the Distinct Engineering Solutions. We are a DBE firm, also MBE. We have done some work with NJ Transit, and I know Lisa Marie is very, very active in ensuring DBE firms get the due share. My question is good faith effort. And many times, as a company, if I come to my fax machine, each day I get about 40 to 50 requests on a good faith effort basis to be part of their teams. But 90%, actually I would say even 100%, they're all not related to our service. Like earlier it was mentioned, if you go and look at our NICE codes and our services, they're all clearly marked what are that we are doing. But I have a feeling that sometimes in the name of good faith effort, people are just sending faxes or emails to companies which are in the DBE list, and they said, oh, we reached out to people. Reaching out to wrong people and asking them to provide service is definitely not going to give good results to them. And then in turn, they may come back to the agency seeking, oh, we made our good faith effort, so you need to lift the waiver, give us a waiver to use the DBE goals. So the reason I am concerned from that point of view is people could be misusing this good faith effort for their benefit. And again, I'm not saying I have no way to verify it is happening, but if there is a way that agency could verify how that good faith effort has happened, that's one thing. My suggestion to improve on that is, if there is a project that has a requirement, if there is a way even the DBEs could go in looking at the scope of work, say we are interested in providing XYZ service. So they know the list of companies that are interested to participate in that particular contract, or either is a design, construction, or whatever. It may help even the bidders to focus or attempt to reach out to the right people, right companies who could participate. That's my suggestion. Now, my second question is, I know MTA has started a program where they are giving out up to 400,000 prime opportunities to small DBE, MBE firms. And also sometimes IDIQ contracts which come out, which may be like, for example, we have a niche in the geotechnical and environmental engineering. I heard somebody else also mentioning about environmental. So these need not be, this could be independent of the larger projects. Is there is India Transit looking into seeking out some specialty contracts? Maybe it will help more MBE, DBE firms to act as primes. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Tarula. And I want to assure you that we do conduct very thorough fraud and compliance reviews when we receive the DB documentation in. We don't just accept the pieces of paper that primes are submitting. We do a very thorough review, and we do contact the firms. We look at the intensity and the quality of the documentation as it pertains to good faith effort.
And also on the technical side, as we're planning capital work, and we have a goal that's programmatic, I'm building a train station. At that very initial stage, we begin to have soft conversations with our partners and our team members, because our teams are bigger than just the architect and the engineer, about, well, where are the opportunities here? So we don't try to create the opportunities, but we do try to capture them. And then we drive that down so that eventually that becomes a goal. So certainly the intention is there within the agency to make sure that we are partnering with everyone. And we are trying to meet some of the queries that you have, back to Mr. Ram's concern.
Hold on a minute. I have one here.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Lisa, you have something?
Well, you can do unbundling. I want to direct a follow-up question to David. David, if you can touch a little bit about the electronic bidding system, what availability is there for SMW DBEs with SMW DBE firms as far as viewing documents, specs, downloading, bidding, et cetera?
So it's all free. That's the upside. And I believe your question was specific regarding IDIQ opportunities, and are we taking that direction? And that is in talks, but we're not there yet. But in terms of Lisa Marie's question, yeah, the system that we use is it is free to go and look online and look at specs and see if the forthcoming work is in your particular wheelhouse. And I think as stated in the presentation, it only costs if you want to bid. So that's the upside.
We ready?
Thank you. Leo had.
So two things really quick, and I know that we're over time, so we'll go to another couple of questions, and then we'll probably break for networking. But I just want to say two things really quickly, because I take your point about, how do we know that someone's made a good faith effort? I mean, Lisa talked to the analysis that we do, but I just want to assure you, and I know that you can see from our partnership up here with procurement and capital, that New Jersey Transit takes its goals very seriously. And we have representatives here from our partner prime agencies, UTCA, ACC, and J, because they want us to know, we want them to know, that we're all in partnership in taking these goals very seriously, and we express that at every opportunity whenever we have a contract. And if we do an analysis, because you can always say you do an analysis, if we do an analysis, we find that a prime contractor did make a good faith effort to meet a goal, then we have no challenges as an office saying we're okay to award that contract. However, if we determine that a prime contractor did not make a good faith effort to meet a goal, we also have no challenges saying we deny authorization to award that contract. And we have at this agency. So you should know that we take this very seriously, and it's not sort of a cursory glance that we look, but we really do look at the rigor of what a prime did. And some of the challenges that we talked about are real challenges. So I just wanted to make sure that that was all out there and clear. And then the second part, you're talking about breaking contracts into smaller contracts, so unbundling. We absolutely are very keenly interested in that. We have a couple of challenges that we're working through. For one, you can see a lot of our contracts are very large. So it's to break them out into all the smaller pieces. It's just challenging to do from a logistical standpoint. But also, you've heard, in the public eye, we're talking about staffing. It's really important for us to hire a lot of people for the agency. Just understand from our perspectives, the more we break up contracts, the more you need people in the shops of our peers to manage those contracts, right? And so there's just there's a sort of lid on how much we can absorb as an agency in terms of admin. But we are looking to do that. And so when you hear about contracts coming out and all we're doing in the back end for capital and procurement, just know that that's the intention, is to do exactly those kinds of things.
Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. My name is Susan Cohen. I'm from Diversity Marketing and Communications, and we are a DBE, WBE, and SBE firm. And first, I want to say thank you very much for organizing this event. Sounds like it's been a long time coming, and you can see there's a real need and appreciation for it. I have two questions. One is, there was discussion of strategic sourcing and utilization of other contracts, so I was wondering if you could provide some examples or specifics about that. For example, our firm is on the GSA schedule, and is there an opportunity to utilize that schedule here? And my second question is the importance of job cost accounting for us small businesses, whether that's a requirement for New Jersey Transit contracts.
So certainly the GSA schedule is a great example. So new legislation now allows for that. That wasn't previously in play for us. And if your firm, so just show of hands, how many of the firms represented today are on the GSA schedule? Okay, small amount, that's fine, certainly something to look into. Federal supply schedules are commonly used to, speed us into the market to, be able to get help at least in the short term. So best example for you there.
Good afternoon. Thank you again for hosting this event. My name is Serafino Catapano. I represent Renaissance Global Services. We are a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business. We provide construction management, project management, and inspection services. Recently, the state of New Jersey has published goals for veteran-owned businesses. how do you folks expect to dovetail those into the existing diversity programs that you guys are already working on?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
So recently, New Jersey has published goals for veteran-owned businesses.
Right.
How will that legislation be dovetailed into your existing programs and participation?
Well, unfortunately, well, New Jersey Transit, we do not have at the moment a veteran-owned business program. We do know that they're out there, and I mean, between us and New Jersey DOT and Port Authority, well, we have the SBE program and the DBE program. Port Authority does have the M&WBE program in addition to their own SBE program. But at present, those are just the two programs that we have available for now.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback on that to say that a lot of the legislation that we're see coming down the pipeline is really great, and I think the administrative processes that will support that are still being stood up. So it's not clear for all the agencies how that will roll into what's happening. I know that I was going to mention anyway, so we're having the statewide M&WBE event that's going to happen on September 20th. I think we'll all be getting information about like what this is going to look like going forward, and I would presume that something similar would be happening for veteran disabled-owned businesses. So a lot of that information is still filtering down to us. But we're excited about it and what it can portend for businesses.
Hester said she can answer if someone. Jacqueline, can you just bring them? Mike, or you want to come up here, Hester? It's probably faster. Just walk up here. And then I'll ask two questions from the outside that were written down, and then I think we'll call it a day for networking.
So that's an excellent question, and my office, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, is meeting with the different state departments, agencies, and authorities, and although what he's referring to is state legislation, and although that legislation has been in place, truth be told, what we've been finding out is that some of our procurement people and some of the departments are not aware of it for whatever the reason. And so even though New Jersey Transit, and you're talking about your procurements that you do on these big construction projects, but even down to your goods and services, your 40,000 and under, as it relates to the state legislation, there is a set aside. So it's not even a goal, it's a set aside of 3% of all of your procurement should be set aside for service disabled veteran-owned businesses. And so we're working right now with the chamber and also just our outreach with businesses to build up our database, so this way they can go directly and be able to go in and procure. You know, one of the challenges that we're having right now is because we don't have a robust database of service disabled veteran-owned businesses, and as it relates to state procurement, even for that 40 and under, you need to have 3 in any one category. So we're hoping in partnership with the chambers and doing outreach like this, and for any of you who are service disabled veteran-owned businesses, that you register, and that will allow them to be able to pull you for those set-asides.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Julie Harris, and I'm representing Lou Engineers. And one of the questions I have, or I guess the statements is, as a engineering firm and having come from working for major prime firms and managing major large-scale projects, we come to our own firms, but you look at us as our capacity based upon the firm that we're with. One of the things that I wanted to ask is, do you look at the firms and their abilities with the people they have inside to manage some of these projects or work on them? Because often we're relegated to surveying and inspections as an MBE or DBE, but we have the ability to manage like a large-scale capital program if we work for a major prime.
Well, we don't really, when we establish the goals, we don't really dictate how the prime is to utilize the SMW DBE firm. And when it comes to priming on, we have had, I do want to say, we have had many SBEs and DBEs who have primed on New Jersey Transit contracts. But when there are, say, maybe perhaps a special pre-qual, you know, or when the dollar value is pretty large, we know that that is a barrier. But Leo already spoke to what happens, when it comes to unbundling. But, we will be revisiting with our business partners our race-neutral small business set-aside element under the DBE program. Unfortunately, the projects that are coming down the pike now are very large for the way that we've written it a few years ago. So we have to go back to the drawing board and sit down with our business partners and see what we can do. But before going on to the next, I just want to ask someone next outside had two questions. So one of which is, can DBEs be notified of pre-bid meetings and attend pre-bid meetings? Okay, so I'm going to answer that. Well, actually, I'll let Melissa answer that. Melissa, can DBEs be notified of pre-bid meetings and attend pre-bid meetings?
Yes, so first, I'm going to link it back to the procurement calendar. You should be consistently checking the procurement calendar for the upcoming pre-bids and pre-proposals. And then we also do e-blasting for special projects or just projects that we feel would lend itself to DBE and SBE participation. So just make sure your email address is up to date and that you're checking the website.
And I'm just going to add to that, you absolutely can attend pre-bid meetings, and in fact, we absolutely want you in the room. I can tell you that when we have pre-bid meetings, the only people in the room are the prime bidders, not the SMWBEs. It's an opportunity to hear about the project, to learn about the project, to meet the project management team, to meet the bidders, and to meet the other DBEs, well, if you came, the DBEs who would be in the room. So we strongly, strongly encourage you to begin to show up at these meetings. The second question was to the capital planning team. All of the design is awarded. Are there design opportunities for DBEs on these contracts that you presented today?
There are still some design opportunities. There's a couple of design build opportunities that are still pending, and there were a couple of design opportunities, particularly in the resilience program, because this is a program that's in response to Superstorm Sandy. Those projects are further along, and that's why a lot of those designs are completed, and we're trying to move to construction. But I did also mention that we were doing the forecast over the next, the next couple of years. There are other projects coming down the pike that we have not yet assigned to project managers, and also that are a little bit further out. So there will be other opportunities for future design projects upcoming.
I think that question speaks to a previous question about capacity, right? These are ostensibly smaller firms that are interested in doing the design work, but some of these jobs are very large and complex. So sometimes you do fall into the trap of having to sub to a larger design prime, and then you're relegated to some lesser work, for lack of a better word. So, but it really is the best way in at the same time.
And David, I will second your statement. Don't just think of design opportunities during the design phase. Think of it during a construction phase. With a project like Portal Bridge project that's coming out at some point, hopefully in the near future, that's going to be $1 billion plus contract. That contractor will need engineering support. So whenever it hits the streets, hopefully in 2019, just be on the lookout for it, because that contractor will need engineering support.
Great.
And lastly, don't relegate yourself in terms of engineering just to the world of transportation, because New Jersey Transit hits basically, like, other than residential, every kind of built environment. So always be on the lookout on the website for all kinds of design work, and go ahead and put your name in the hat.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, I have a question here.
Okay, so, nope, yeah, sorry, we're gonna have to cut it so that we can take advantage of the networking opportunity. I apologize, but you'll be able to, look at him grasping that microphone with begging.
I have a
with
microphone.
begging look.
I have a microphone.
Very quickly.
I'll make it the last one.
Yeah, very quickly, very
Okay.
quickly.
Robert Flock, J. Fletcher Kramer and Son. And I'd like to address one of the projects that Lenore had listed up on the entree portion of the event. And it was the Raritan Bay Bridge project, which is listed at 500 to 600 million. And I know that the contractors associations in New Jersey have been lobbying for a long time for transit to break that down so that New Jersey contractors can be GCs. And I noticed on the list that it was broken down into 3 contracts. Can we assume that the appeal worked?
Safe to say.
We looked at.
It's a short answer.
Just as Lisa Marie mentioned, obviously, we did a market survey. We looked at both bridge projects that are coming up, Raritan and Portal, and looked at the special pre-qualification requirements for this type of bridge. And we want to have a competitive bid environment. As Lisa Marie said, that's in the best interest of our business. So it's sort of a win-win, I suppose, if we have a better environment, bidding environment out there for good competition and also more opportunities.
That was probably the driver.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Lenore. So, okay, so that concludes the morning portion of our event today. I personally want to thank my business partners, David, Lenora, Rob, Anthony, and Jose, as well as Melissa. And I think what pretty much what you guys have heard here today. Hello? Hello? Okay, yeah, I think what all of you pretty much can take away from today is that you need to show up, right? Show up to these events, check your business profiles. Many of you have no idea what your business profile says about you in terms of what you can do. Don't be too broad, right? Show up, attend the pre-bid and pre-proposal conferences. Be proactive in looking for opportunities by checking the procurement calendar on the website and also by reading emails that New Jersey Transit, DOT, and Port Authority send out to you. And if your email address is not someone, or your telephone is not someone who can stay on top of marketing opportunities, find someone. Find a family member. Find someone who's going to care about your business as much as you do.